Now out from 88 Films on Blu-ray is the 1990 Hong Kong supernatural crime film Magic Cop, starring Ching-Ling Yam and Wilson Lam. Sorry, I had to look at my notes. Yam is a guy whose face I recognize. I recognize him from Shaolin Temple and endless numbers of, like, he was in Eastern Condors. He's in a lot of Sammo Hung films. And I believe this film indeed was, the production company had something to do with Sammo Hung, but it's a name that I've never bothered to learn. I don't want to say bothered to learn. It's a name that's just never stuck in my head. Anyway, he stars in this film about a cop from sort of rural, offshore, off Hong Kong, one of the islands. I'm not great with geography, who also is good with magic and spells and dealing with the supernatural and demons. He is called to the mainland, well, not the mainland, he's called to Hong Kong proper, the big city, to help investigate a crime where a woman is seemingly impervious to injury or pain or stoppage, who flees the scene of a police sting, and nothing can stop this woman, and they wind up killing this woman, and on the slab in the morgue they determine that she was already dead when all this stuff happened that we're talking about. So our hero, the titular magic cop, comes in to try to help figure out what's going on, and what turns out to be going on, without giving you the whole plot, is that some evil person is utilizing magic and utilizing sort of zombification or reanimation of the dead to carry out drug trafficking. It's a rather silly film. And I don't say that in a bad way. Again, going into this, I'd never heard of this movie. I didn't know if it would be serious, if it would be silly or what. It leans way more into the silly. There's a good amount of comedy in the film, with a couple of, kind of bumbling cops and things like that. And it gets really, really wild and outrageous when it gets to the supernatural stuff. And when our hero ultimately fights the villain toward the end, it's like this wild mix of like a Chinese hopping vampire film and Evil Dead. Clearly Evil Dead was an influence on this. And there's martial arts, and there's special effects, and there's gore, and there's smoke and animation, and it's really, really pretty crazy and wonderful. So what we get on this disc, I'm going to sort of refer to my notes in the disc itself. You have the film presented in a couple of different ways. You have original Cantonese Mono 2.0. You get Cantonese home video mix 2.0. You get English surround dub 5.1. You get the English dub 2.0. Also in the extras, there is an alternate version of the movie. The film as it is runs about 88 minutes, give or take. There is an alternate version in the extras that you can watch the film, the Taiwan edit of the film, which is several minutes longer. I think it's 93 minutes, and it has different music track, different score, and that is presented. The film itself, it looks good. It doesn't look gorgeous, but a lot of times I think these films maybe never did. It's not one of those where you watch it and you're like, wow, I have to put on shades because the colors look so amazing, or wow, this looks like it was shot yesterday. It doesn't look that phenomenal, but it looks good. It's a solid transfer. It's a nice, sharp, crisp transfer. The Taiwanese version is not. The Taiwanese version looks like either it came from a videotape or the old DVD master. So on your widescreen TV, you're going to see a square in the middle, and inside that square is going to be the letterbox version with the old, bad, or what we were used to at the time, burned in subtitles that have the Mandarin subtitles across the top and English across the bottom. And if you've ever watched any film from this era in that form, you know that it was almost like the filmmakers really liked putting white things across the bottom of the screen, because almost half the time there would be something across the bottom that would obscure, and the subtitles would just disappear in somebody's white shirt or white tablecloth or tie or whatever it was. So the Taiwanese version is there. I didn't really look at that very much because I didn't really have the time or interest in watching a substandard looking version for 93 minutes, but I'm sure for big fans of this movie it'll be interesting because it is several minutes longer in some way. I think it might have had an extra scene here and there, but I had meant to look it up before I recorded this, but I failed. But again, if you're watching this on the internet, that's what the internet's for. So we have... as I said, it was really fun and really goofy, and just especially as it went on. At first, it was kind of going on and it was okay. It starts kind of strong with a whole bunch of magic and a young child taking a whiz, which was kind of funny, and something you just don't see in American films that often anymore. And the end just gets bonkers. It gets totally nuts. nuts in a way that only Hong Kong movies really can. So what do you have for extras? I'll show you the packaging too, because 88 Films does a great job. So that is the cover, nice new artwork. On that slipcase, nice matte finish, thick slipcase, front and back. And the slipcase, as I always will say, sing along if you know the words, slips right off. And we have the same artwork there, a little something on the back. You crack it open and we once again have our sort of smoked, it's not a black case, it's like a smoked case, as it were, with again different art, different original art on the disc. And then if you take it all out, you've got I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. You have the original poster art as a reversible cover. So if you wanted to have the, slip it out and or slip it in, and then we're talking about something that we have to rate a little higher than this. Slip it in, and we're talking about a category 3. You can reverse that, which I sometimes will do. So you have the slipcase cover art, and then when you take it out, it's the original cover art. I used to like to do that with Shout Factory discs, actually. And then you have a poster inside there, which I will unfurl to your delight. And again, it's on nice thick paper, nice thick matte finish paper. So you've got the new artwork, and on the reverse, you have the old original movie poster art that appeared in Hong Kong cinemas long ago, back in 1990. So what are the extras on here? We have a new Blu-ray presentation in 1:8:5 aspect ratio. I've told you about the audio already. Audio commentary with Hong Kong film experts Frank Jane, Zheng, and Mark Walkaw, who I almost sort of kind of know. I have he's a friend of friends of mine. I've been in the same space as Mr. Walkaw before. Unfortunately, he's not very well mic'd on this. I don't know if it was an error in the mic he was using or if he was off mic, but he sounds a little distant, so you kind of have to turn up the commentary a little bit. Frank Zheng is front and center, but Mark is a little bit distant, unfortunately. But still very interesting, very knowledgeable guys, and interesting stories and background on the style of films and who made them, and what everybody had done who made this and everything. So it was always a worthy listen. The Taiwanese cut in alternate score in standard def, as I said, interview with Tung Wei, image gallery, trailer, and the reversible cover. The Tung Wei interview, he is the man who directed the film, and that's a nice lengthy interview. That is, let me see, I have it written down, 35 minutes. The image gallery is 2 minutes, and that's sort of an autoplay thing that just plays through for 2 minutes, and the trailer is 3 minutes. So this was an interesting release. It's not a film that I had heard of, and it's not a film probably that a lot of casual fans of Hong Kong movies in this country have heard of, but it's fun. If you like wacky wild Hong Kong movies, it's a good time. And if you just like wacky wild movies, it's a good time. It does have an English dub, so if you're Hong Kong curious, if you're foreign film Asian curious, that's my Howie Mandel. Vintage Howie Mandel. If you're Asian movie curious, there is the English dub if you don't want to read. So there's that. Or if this is how you originally saw the film. I do like that they gave you the option. I usually tend to go with the original language, even though it wouldn't be for a couple more years that Hong Kong films would record soundtracks, record audio dialogue on the set. So they were dubbed anyway. They were just dubbed in. If you watch it in Chinese, it's a little more authentic to the culture, and it might match the lips a bit more often. But anyway, up to you. I love that the options are on there, all the vintage recordings and mixes and dubs and versions and all that. It's great. So available now on Blu-ray from 88 Films is magic.